Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, as we are finished reviewing all the shows from the collective in WrestleMania weekend in Dallas, we have 4 shows left, and then we have the Monday Night Raw review coming up later on tonight as well. So this show was from the 1st, so this was day 2 of the collective. It was GCW for the Culture. We had 7 matches here. We had a little bit of everything. We had a scramble match, we had a title match, we had a death match. Alright, so first off, we had the Impact Knockouts Championship on the line. We had champion Tasha Steelz versus an old foe of hers, Big Swole. Big Swole, as we all know, was with AEW for a while. Ended up leaving AEW. She's been doing some stuff on the indies. This was kind of just a match, really, honestly. And Tasha retained her title. Not a lot happened in this. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars. Next up, we had a 7-way scramble match. We had Michael Oku. We had going up against Andino, Carlie Bravo, Dizz, Keita Murray, PB Smooth, and Trey Shaw. PB Smooth is a really tall dude, and so he basically was a giant compared to the rest of these guys in the scramble match. Michael Oku, several shows that he's been on during this weekend, I talked about how good he is, and that 5-star match he had against Will Ospreay. A lot of people talked about that during the collective as well. But yeah, he had a good little match here. Did a couple of Flosberries. Looked good. Carrying that around that Rev Pro Undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship. He ended up getting the victory here. I give it 3.25 stars. Next up, we had a tag team match. We had former Ring of Honor 6-man tag champion Shane Taylor Productions with O'Shea Edwards and Shane Taylor going up against new to the independent circuit, HitMakerZ, AJ Francis and Tehuti Miles with Briana Brady. So formerly known as Hit Row. AJ Francis, Tehuti Miles, or Tina Mills. I think this might be one of their first indie shows since their release. They look good together. Shane Taylor Productions, though, they've tagged together a lot longer. O'Shea Edwards and Shane Taylor were able to get the victory here. Good little match. Shane Taylor and AJ Francis, 2 big hosses going after each other. I ended up giving it 3.25 stars with the Shane Taylor Promotions getting the victory there. Next up, we had the Pan-African American Championship on the line. Champion Trish Adora versus MJ Jenkins. I didn't realize the title was going to be on the line until literally they just announced it and the ref held the title up. Trish Adora did retain her title here. I ended up giving it 3 stars. Next up, we had AJ Gray, part of the Second Gear crew, going up against Darius Lockhart. AJ Gray getting the victory over Darius Lockhart. Good little match. Ended up giving it 3 stars. Next up, we had a Fatal 4-Way. We had Bryan Keith and Mysterious Q representing Reality of Wrestling, Booker T's promotion. Bryan Keith also wrestles for New Texas Pro Wrestling, and Mysterious Q, I've seen him at some other places as well, versus Shinzi and JTG. Now, I find it comical. I watched this match twice. The fact that if you look it up online, it shows Bryan Keith got the victory. If you watch it, you clearly see Mysterious Q getting the victory. So I don't know what that was about, but Mysterious Q did get the victory. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. And then our main event, we had a death match. We had Hoodfoot and Billy Dixon. I think these guys actually had another match over the weekend, if I remember correctly. Let me look here real quick in the old book. I swore I seen these guys earlier. I know they both had matches throughout the weekend. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm looking at here. Hoodfoot was in another death match. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, Hoodfoot and Billy Dixon. When Hoodfoot bleeds, he bleeds buckets. He had multiple death matches. I don't know how he was still standing all the blood he lost. There was a gusset plate that Hoodfoot was using on Billy Dixon, and he was multiple ones. Then they literally just emptied the clip of light tubes. I mean, it was just tube after tube after tube after tube, busting tubes over each other. They emptied as the announcer said, they emptied the clip twice. I don't know if the bumps and the scratches and the blood in some of these matches with these light tubes is just craziness. This actually was a pretty good death match, because, I mean, what makes a good death match? Light tubes, a little bit of glass. There's no glass in this one. Doors. You take when you break a light tube and you take it and you stab him with it. These are little things that I've picked up from watching Nick Gage and some of the other Deathmatch Kings. Not Matt Cardona. And so, Hoodfoot getting the victory, just covered in blood. So, and I give it 3.5. So we had 4-way with JTG, Mysterious Q, Shinzei, and Brian Keith. I gave that 3.5. And then I gave the main event deathmatch 3.5 as well. Alright, we only have a few shows left from the weekend. Stay tuned to Robert Sports Shows. We get those reviews up. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.